Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Allie and welcome to the top comment where I read and react to insane internet chaos in the form of Reddit stories. So if you like this type of content, please don't forget to subscribe. It is totally free and it means a lot to me. On Tuesday's episode, we talked about some certified crybabies, aka adults who throw temper tantrums over absolutely nothing. They honestly give the equivalent of little kids who try and blow out their siblings' birthday candles and then they cry and scream because their parents won't let them. Yeah, those are certified crybabies. Today, we are kicking it up a notch and we're going to be talking about some teeny weenies, people who are just really giving small energy. So let's get into it. Story number 1 comes from r/coworker stories, and it says, my coworker kept calling me his work wife until his actual wife showed up. So my coworker John from HR starts saying this weird little stuff like, we're basically work spouses, right? I thought it was a joke at first, but then he's like, nah, for real, we talk more than I do with my actual wife. I kind of laughed it off at first, but fast forward to last Thursday, his wife actually showed up at the office during lunch with their kid. She sees us chatting in the break room and suddenly she goes, oh, so you must be her. I've never grabbed my lunch tray and bolted out of there so fast in my life. His face was bright red. I don't think I've ever seen someone go from work wife to awkward silence so quickly. I don't understand the work wife, work husband thing. I think it's gross and I think it's weird. And I think if I had a coworker that called me their work wife, I would be really offended. I'd probably report it to HR, but if this guy is working in HR, who do you even go to then? It's just an uncomfortable work dynamic. I don't like it one bit. I just feel like it's a way to devalue your actual spouse, and you can have friends at work, that's fine, but you don't need a work wife or a work husband or anything like that. I just think that that is crossing so many boundaries that shouldn't even really need to be said out loud. The top comment on this one says, he's in trouble now with his actual wife. Yeah, he is. It sounds like he goes home and talks to her about his work wife, aka OP, to his actual wife, and that's just disrespectful. They also have a kid together. I would be so pissed. OP responds, it says, honestly, I'm pretty sure he's still hearing about it, as he should. He should be less inappropriate and creepy and not consider somebody a work wife. That's just weird. If you agree with that, or if you were somebody that does that, you're weird. I'm sorry. Someone else says double divorce. And then someone replies saying twice the wives, double the fall. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, my guy. The next comment says, you just know he's mentioned his work wife at home, thinking he was being amusing and that she went on red alert over it. Actually, are you sure he's not into you? Because he probably mentioned you a lot if she felt the need to mark her territory at work. Her coming in with his child was to remind you both of what he has at home. Let's hope that's the end of his stupid work wife crap. Honestly, if you feel the need to have a work wife, that probably means that you're unsatisfied with what you already have at home. And yeah, you probably should just get a divorce or just not call your coworkers your wife. 2025 is a weird place to be. The next comment says, did you say he's in HR? I see problems. Yeah, who are you supposed to go to if he is in HR? And you can't go to HR because he is HR. I mean, he's just asserting his dominance in a very gross and weird, it almost feels like a power trip to me from this guy. I honestly don't know. I would not put it past him. The last comment says, probably told the wife about some women who hits on him all the time. He is definitely giving teeny weeny energy with this stunt. Anybody that has a work wife or a work husband is teeny weeny energy. Who even started this? Who even started this as a trend? Who said that this was okay? This is just gross and weird, and it makes me so uncomfortable. It gives me secondhand embarrassment. If I ever hear anybody call somebody else their work wife or work husband, I'm probably going to call them out on it because it's just wrong. Speaking of people who should get divorced or who are probably on the verge of divorce, this next story comes from r/ask Reddit, and it says, people that got divorced for reasons other than cheating, what was the last straw? The top comment says, I spent hours cooking his favorite meal and dessert at his request while cleaning and tidying up straight after getting home from working 12 hours. He was between jobs at the time. I served dinner, sat down, and he pointed out that I forgot to get the drinks. I told him that I'm exhausted and I'm too tired to get back up. He said no problem, got up, poured his own drink, and sat back down. I asked where my drink was, and he said in a sarcastic tone, "I'm too tired to get back up," and then proceeded to enjoy his meal. I realized at that moment I deserved much better. You do deserve much better. He absolutely showed his true colors. How are you going to get up and get yourself something to drink and notice that your wife doesn't have anything and then be a cynical little bitch about it? Crybaby, teeny weeny territory for sure. The next comment says, a friend's husband thought taking digs at her in front of others was funny and would tell her it was just a joke and to loosen up. One day we were at a holiday and a teacher told my friend's husband that their son looked just like him. The idiot said, "I don't even know if he's mine. A man can never be sure." It was in the early 90s. My friend told him if he ever said anything about their son not being his again, she would divorce him. A couple of months later, we were at a birthday party and someone told the husband that his son could be his clone. The idiot replied, "We don't know for certain he is mine." My friend kept her cool and didn't say a word at the time. 3 days later, she met with the divorce attorney and filed for divorce. Her husband was bewildered when he received notice of the divorce filing. He was begging her to see a marriage counselor and said that he would do anything to get her back. She told him that she warned him and that if he ever said their son wasn't his, she would divorce him, and she meant it. She married a great guy a few years later, and the ex has been married and divorced 3 more times since she divorced him. Can't say I'm surprised. Sounds just like the type to bounce from wife to wife to wife, treating them all terribly. I absolutely hate it when people bully each other and then say, "It was just a joke, just lighten up." How about you try being funny? Did you ever think of that? The next comment says, the last straw was when he hid our car keys so that I couldn't get to work. Basically just one more thing in a long series of things he'd done so he'd have a reason to scream at me. In this case, it was me waking him up. He told me that it was his car and that he'd rather unalive himself than spend one more second longer with me. So I packed a bag, left the house, cried the entire day at work, and never went back. Good for you for not going back. He sounds like a complete manipulative head. The next comment says, even when we weren't fighting, we weren't nice to each other. I got numb. I stopped snapping back and I just listened to what he said. It didn't take long to realize that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life hearing, "Can you just get out of the way? I'm making toast," first thing in the morning. There is nothing worse than somebody that wakes up and chooses violence first thing in the morning and to yell at you to get out of his way so he can make his toast. Bye. The next comment says, he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 10 times. The next comment just says alcoholism. Yeah, that's a very valid reason to leave somebody. It's not a pleasant experience. The next comment says, marriage guidance counseling. They talked us through the relationship and asked what I liked about her, and I realized it was nothing. We had nothing in common and we didn't want the same thing. Walked out of counseling and moved out that evening. It's good to realize when you don't have things in common with people, because you can love somebody, but at the end of the day, if you don't have anything in common with them, what's the point of being in a relationship with them if you just aren't on the same vibe? Like, imagine just being with somebody who is basically a stick in the mud. That's exactly the vibe that's giving. The next one says, when he left a wet towel on the bed for the 112th time. That, or like not leaving your shoes at the front door and just tracking in the nastiness and the germs all over your shoes. Hate that. I have a whole laundry list of things that are just unacceptable to me in a relationship. If you're going to put a wet towel on the bed, you can immediately get fucked. Goodbye. That's disgusting. Nobody wants to sit in that. And then also, like, it starts to smell bad after a while once the bed's been wet. Like, I don't know. Relationships are tricky, but I feel like if you know what you want going into it and you have really firm boundaries and you like know yourself, I feel like you're probably setting yourself up for success rather than failure. But I mean, it does take time for you to like get to know yourself, and hindsight's always 20/20. And I feel like the more relationships we get in and the older we get, like the more we learn about ourselves and the easier it becomes to set boundaries. So, all right, our next story comes from r/wedding shaming, and it says, narcissistic father hijacked the wedding. My sister's wedding was this weekend, and of course our narcissistic father made it all about himself. We have a strained relationship with him for a long list of reasons, but here are some of his latest hits. He stole directly from our college fund to buy a BMW, took 2 of his daughters off of health insurance without even a heads up. They only found out when they couldn't pick up their medication, caused my youngest sister not to graduate by stalling stalling payment until the due date and refusing to pay his portion of the tuition per contract. He blocked my sister the week her payment was due. He has been dragging out a 6-year divorce with our mom to bleed her dry. Yep, it's still ongoing. He opened a secret account years before they divorced and funneled money into that too. We have the cash withdrawal receipts. We just don't know what account he deposited them into. Leading up to the wedding, my sister had 4 separate conversations with him, making it absolutely clear that he was not to walk her down the aisle. That role was reserved for our mom. She even went as far as telling his girlfriend to be sure the message got through. The day of the wedding, he refused to leave the bridal party and said, "It's weird for a mother to walk her child down the aisle. I've never even heard of that before." He forced his way in and insisted on walking her down the aisle, completely ignoring her wishes. He wouldn't go sit with the other guests like he was supposed to. My sister's wife was furious, but she didn't want to make a scene. Later during speeches, he wasn't on the list to speak. Somehow he manipulated the MC into introducing him and gave a speech anyway. Everybody was so confused and uncomfortable. His friends were the only ones clapping. To top it all off, his table, consisting of mainly childhood friends with some family on his side, stayed glued to their table the entire event and only got up to grab food. Meanwhile, the rest of us had a grand old time dancing our butts off and laughing with our mom. I'm so proud of how she has risen above his manipulation and games. My dad got what he wanted at the cost of all of his daughters, which I guess is no surprise considering that was never a steep cost for him. Wow, yikes. He sounds like an absolute nightmare to deal with. That is the most of the teeny weeny energy I could possibly imagine. Inserting yourself on somebody else's day is gross. I just went over the criteria of what it is to be a narcissist in therapy, and this guy definitely checks all of those boxes. He's making the day about himself. He is habitually not responding to boundaries. He is being manipulative. He's also manipulating the DJ by going up, and I mean, this was probably such an elaborate thing from him to do, and to be able to get that microphone and stand up there and really think that he's shining. And the whole thing with narcissists is that they don't think they're doing anything wrong, and they never will. They never will. I mean, you can go to therapy and you can get on medication and you can really get help, but I don't think you can heal a narcissist unless they're going to take things like that seriously, or whatever their treatment plan is based on whatever it is they have to do. I don't even know. Like, comment below. Do you know what narcissists have to do for, like, if they get diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder? What do they have to do? Do they have to go to therapy? Is it normal therapy? Is it like CBT? I honestly have no idea, but I'd be curious if there's any like psychologists or anybody listening or anybody that just knows this information. Comment below and tell me. I'm very, very curious. I feel like we talk about narcissists on here a lot. And also, like, I've definitely dealt with narcissists, unfortunately. It's just, it is what it is. Some people tend to run into them more than often, and that would be me. I'm like the sheep to the narcissistic wolf, where they just flock to me because I'm a caring person and I go above and beyond for everybody. And I think that makes me like such an easy target. So I have dealt with quite a few narcissists in my day, and now I can pick them out almost immediately. But comment below, have you ever dealt with a narcissist before? Like, I can't even imagine somebody ruining my wedding like that. And also props to your sister and her partner for not letting it ruin their day and for being able to just like kind of keep on with everything. I'm sure that they were just kind of rolling their eyes like, oh, of course he's doing this again. And hopefully this will be the last event that you guys invite him to. I understand probably wanting him around. I mean, that's probably very hard to like really be able to cut parents off. I don't know anything about that, but I would imagine it's very difficult. So good for you guys for standing firm boundaries and not letting it ruin the day. I mean, I think that's the most powerful thing you can do for yourself at the end of the day. So the top comment on this one says, with all due respect, why was this trash man invited in the first place? There are a ton of people that are commenting this exact same thing, and it looks like OP has replied to a lot of them. They basically give the same response and says, my sister invited him before we knew all of these crimes. My mother did not trash talk him at all throughout the entire divorce. I did some digging of my own, and now the whole family on my mom's side knows. I've considered revealing his true nature to his side of his family as well, since I'm tired of him posing as the loving, supportive father. Victim mentality is definitely a huge thing with narcissists, unfortunately. It sounds like he's definitely playing the victim. Odds are his family probably already knows. Maybe they're a little bit narcissistic too. If I had to guess, I don't know anything about these people, but just based on my assumption, it's usually not just one person that's narcissistic. It's like, oh, he's a narcissist. And then you look at his mom and you're just like, oh my God, she's a narcissist. And then you look at his dad and you're just like, now I see where they all get it from. The next comment says, I've been told the definition of a narcissist is they are the bride at every wedding and the corpse at every funeral. Sounds like dear old dad is fulfilling the prediction pretty predictably. Wow, I really like that. Let's read that again. The definition of a narcissist is somebody who is the bride at every wedding and the corpse at every funeral. Wow. Let me know if that resonates with you in the comments below. That really resonates with me. That's kind of a life-changing statement right there. That's wild. I'm like speechless right now. I'm gonna go take that to therapy and tell my therapist and be like, hey, I learned something today off of Reddit, and she's probably just gonna laugh, but that's very true. The narcissist is somebody who they're gonna show up in white to your wedding, or they're gonna show up to the funeral on crutches and say, oh, I have leg cancer, my bones are so frail. If somebody is doing that, don't put anything past them at all, because they are clearly not afraid to go to some wild lengths to get exactly what they want and make themselves the center of attention. I hate being the center of attention. I can't even imagine. Ooh, it makes me want to throw up. The next comment says, mom needs to get an aggressive lawyer and get before a judge to finish that divorce. My ex-sister-in-law dragged out my brother's divorce for 10 years, and it cost him tens of thousands of dollars more than it needed to because he wanted to do a mediation so as not to give her ammo to use against him with their daughter. She trashed him to her anyway, and he lost a ton of money. You and your siblings are adults who don't need to be protected by your mom. Tell her she needs to get really aggressive and finish this up, and that you'll back her up and be there for her support. I hope she is able to get this divorce taken care of fast. 6 years is a long time. Oh, it's just so messy and so ugly for no reason. The last comment says, someday he will be one of those old men you see in nursing homes who smells like urine and cigarettes and never has visitors because he burned all his bridges by being an asshole to everybody. Money or not, we all end up in the ground and he will go there alone and forgotten. How sad. But those are the consequences of his actions. You can't push everybody away and treat people like complete and utter shit and expect them to still be there for you at the end of the day. That's just not how things work. And collectively as a society, I am thrilled that we are finally moving in that direction. Narcissists. What a grand old time they are. Alrighty, friends, we're moving right along to the last story today. This story comes from r/choosing beggars. It is a day old, and it says, you're taking the pictures anyway. Why not just include us for free? So I, a 31-year-old woman, have been working professionally as a photographer for about 6 years now. Last weekend, I booked a golden hour session for a lovely couple at a local park. Paid in full, signed contract, all good. While I'm setting up, this random woman with 2 kids walks over and just starts hovering. At first I thought she was just passing by, but nope, she literally started posing her kids right next to my clients. I politely told her it was a private shoot and would appreciate if she could give us a bit of space. She says, oh, don't worry, I just need a few good shots of my babies. You're already shooting, so what's the harm? I explain again that this is a paid session and I can't just start photographing other people mid-shoot and let her know that she was embarrassing my clients and I. Then came the classic, wow, you're seriously going to deny 2 innocent children a memory just because of money? You're already here. Just snap a few. It costs you nothing. I said, it actually cost me time, energy, editing, storage, and equipment wear. She walked off muttering, greedy bitch, loud enough for me and my clients to hear. I swear, I'm too old for this nonsense. I'm 31, not a charity. Ugh, the worst type of entitlement. Ugh, absolutely terrible. Horrible little teeny weeny energy. What a great example to set for your kids who are literally standing right there. That's awesome. I'm so glad we're gonna have more kids in society. They're gonna grow up to just be absolute nightmare adults. It's not just time and money. It's also really rude and inconsiderate of her to just barge in on your session. My social anxiety literally could never have me be this way towards anybody ever in the history of ever. I'm so far disconnected from what this is like, being like this as a person, that I can't even imagine it. I get so embarrassed when even if I'm walking through the grocery store and my cart is being super loud, like, you know, when you get one with the loose wheel on it and it's just rattling the entire time. I even get weirded out by that, but let alone causing a scene and then calling somebody a bitch in public. Next level insane. You have got to be kidding me. This is a grown woman that has children. I can't. This is the most teeny weeny energy. You are so entitled. What makes you think you're entitled to somebody else's time? Like, why don't you just take a selfie? Why don't you just pull out your phone and take a selfie? Is it that hard? Or ask somebody else to take a picture of you. Like, go up to a stranger and say like, hey, can you just snap a couple pictures of me and my kids? The worst that they can say is no. And then you move on. It's not a big deal. It does not have to be this monumental of a storm for absolutely no reason. The top comment says, wow, you're seriously going to deny 2 innocent children a memory just because of money? Says the woman who was quite literally denying her own kids a memory just because she didn't want to pay. So just because of money. The irony of narcissists is that they never see that they're doing anything wrong. The next comment says, she was just being manipulative just to push her responsibilities onto someone else. My main issue is that she's not respecting the fact that she has a client there. Yeah, imagine just standing next to somebody who is clearly in the middle of a professional photo shoot and saying, just get a couple of pictures of us too. Like, what? Really? What goes through your head? I would love to know what goes through people's heads that are like this, because this is delusional and entitled as hell. The next comment says, agreed. If she wants the memories so bad, she can just take her kids to the Walmart photo place or just have a relative or friend snap some photos of them on their phone and then print them off to put up in the house, assuming she has any friends or family left who aren't tired of her mooching and using her kids as an excuse for piss poor begging behavior daily. Just take a selfie. Just take a selfie. You have a phone. I guarantee this lady has a phone. And if not, disposable cameras still exist. They're cheap. You can go buy one. You could go to the Walmart photo center. I honestly didn't even know that those were still a thing, but there's tons of other ways to do this that's not inserting yourself into somebody else's photo shoot. That is secondhand embarrassment, 50 billion level cringe. The next comment says, oh, if money isn't a concern, then leave me your information and I'll be happy to book you a session. That is, of course, if you're unwilling to spend money for some memories of your sweet babies. Yeah, turn it right back around on her and dish exactly back to her what she dished out to you. Serve it nice and hot. The next comment says, I can't believe people actually do this in public. It's so embarrassing to even think about. It gives me such bad secondhand embarrassment. I can't even imagine being like this. And I can't even imagine seeing this in public. This is how people end up going viral against their own will on social media, because they end up, somebody's going to record it. Somebody's going to take their phone and they're going to sit there and they're going to go like this and they're going to record you being a complete asshole. And you're going to go viral for being the next asshole in public. So I suggest people shape up. Really, I do. The last comment on here says, the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch to just step next to the clients and act as if it's totally normal to photobomb a photo shoot with her kids standing right there and all. The lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch. I am so dead. That is hilarious. That's so funny. I'm definitely going to start using that. You guys are going to probably hear that a few times on this show. That's really funny. Shout out to that commenter out there. That's great. I just can't believe that people are so entitled that they just feel like the world completely revolves around them, as if there's not 8 billion of us out here just trying to do our best day to day. It'll never cease to amaze me, but it just goes to show that even though you're a teeny weeny and you have small dick energy, you don't actually have to have one to be one. Women can be them too. And this lady just really sealed the deal on that. So we're going to end the episode here today. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Did anybody make it to the end of this episode? If you did, leave me a green heart in the comments and let me know that you're still here. I want to know. I care about you guys. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you on Sunday for the mashup episode. Be safe, be sane, stay indoors if you must. I love you, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.